Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio's Sports Center.
While weather conditions made travel out of Charlotte over the weekend tough for the Spurs, but they did manage to get back to San Antonio in time for their game with the Orlando Magic. 8 o'clock last night tip didn't affect them as they beat the Magic 112-103, led by Victor Wembanyama's 25 points, 8 boards, and 5 blocks. As a result of the win, Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson, now the West All-Stars coach.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That goal is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether that is live on 94.1, on your FM dial. You have to be locked in and listening online at sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're watching the show live on YouTube, that's right, we stream all of our shows live via YouTube. Just go there, search SA Sports Star, like, subscribe while you're at it. Helps the algorithm. You're able to comment along with the show as it happens, like Fred Records is. Already in the Bolton Bandits, Miguel Martinez, what's going on? And, of course, you can always call in if you want to voice your opinion, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. A lot to get into. We got some Spurs talk after that big win. You just heard me mention in SportsCenter that netted Mitch into the West All-Star head coaching role for the upcoming NBA All-Star game. But I want to start back on Radio Row as the Blitz was joined earlier today by Nate Tice of Yahoo Sports. He is also a former quarterback for the Wisconsin Badgers. He is the son of Mike Tice, former NFL head coach. He's a scout. He now works for Yahoo Sports, does NFL and draft analysts, and he had some incredible things to say, especially later on in the interview when he was talking about what his expectations for the Cowboys offense could be next year. And do believe the term supernova may have been thrown around.
Joining us now is Nate Tice here live on Radio Row. Nate, I'm Jason Minix. Joe Reinagle's back in San Antonio. He'll be the other voice there.
Hello, Nate.
That you hear. Camera in front of me. Yeah, yes, exactly.
I know. Look how small that is. I know. I need to get one of those. I travel with my camera, and I have to bring a whole little case with a microphone.
Well, yeah, but you're a TV guy. I mean, it makes sense that you would have more camera stuff.
TV guy, I don't know about that. Podcasting is it's like TV minus, I would say podcast plus. It's like kind of the in between. So yeah, we'll say TV minus right now.
Well, that works. Dude, Radio Row for you as a scout. Your dad was a coach. The analytics that you're always doing. This matchup, your initial thoughts going in?
I think the Patriots are a very live dog. Maybe the best way I could put it. I believe they're 5.5-point underdogs the last I checked, and I really do think they have some aspects that could give the Seahawks some issue. Most notably Sam Darnold, who I think very famously last year against the Rams in the playoff game, and Week 18 before that against the Lions, kind of, maybe cost himself some money, maybe cost himself some credibility as much as he had built up with the Vikings last year. But pressure is the one thing that could discombobulate this offense. And what I've seen is that the Patriots have their best defenders are things that align well against the Seahawks. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Kyrus Tonga, and then outside Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. They have ways that can pick at the Seahawks' weaknesses, which is right guard and center. So this is the playoffs. This is the Super Bowl. 2 weeks to prepare for this stuff. So I do think the Patriots have if I were a betting man, which I used to work, I live in Vegas, so you can assume. Still probably would say like a Seahawks money line thing, but I do think there's more Patriots value here and more Patriots liveliness that I think they're getting credit for.
I'm glad you said that, Nate, because a lot of folks, you look at these so-called experts and everybody's picking the Seattle Seahawks, it seems. I've got to ask you this question, though. With Sam Darnold last week, he didn't practice a whole heck of a lot, injured. He comes out and maybe has his best game as a pro. Now Drake May's a little bit dinged up and not practicing a whole heck of a lot. Is that practice thing with this time of year a little bit maybe overrated?
Yeah, a little bit. And some of those people that report on injuries, they got to get clicks. It's a bye week for all of us, so we have to figure out content. I did a mock draft last week. You got fellow content, however you got to do it. No, I do think it is. It's also, they have essentially glorified walkthroughs during those practices. Those aren't going to be very high tempo. They'll get a lot of plays in, but I think it'll be kind of low maintenance. So I think it's one of those where, we can rest it so we can get mental reps, maybe minimize how much we can push that arm. I mean, that's the golden goose of a quarterback is their arm or their shoulder. It's just like a pitcher. Okay, he missed one start. Okay, just to make sure that there's soreness or whatever isn't bad. But I do think it's a little overblown. I guess I was going to say don't quote me on that, but I guess here I am. So do quote me on that, I guess. But no, I do think it's a little bit overblown of how it goes. And I think even with the Darnold thing with the oblique, everyone's like, well, he didn't throw at practice. That was a walkthrough. Those guys usually throw 10 balls during those practices, but you got to get some clicks, get some engagement.
Yahoo Sports NFL analyst and host of the Football 301 show, Nate Tice, joining us here on the Blitz on Radio Row. So much has been made of the Patriots' week schedule and who they played and trying to gauge just how good is this defense. Their wins versus playoff teams outside of, obviously, in the playoffs. And even C.J. Stroud was so bad in the postseason. And then they didn't have to play Bo Nix. How do you, when you're trying to analyze and predict, how good is that defense against Sam Darnold in the offense? How much does who they play factor into your evaluations?
It's the NFL. So I think a lot of people want to use that as it was never this big of a conversation point, which has just been so funny to me. It's not the Big Ten going against the Big 12, or the SEC going against the Big 12. It's the NFL. And so I even think you see DVOA, I use DVOA from FTN, formerly Football Outsiders, and those stats is I think sometimes people see rankings and they don't actually see what the numbers are, the percentiles are. It might be, yes, they played a weaker schedule, but it's really 7% difference as opposed to oh my God, half the defense that they played last week. We watched the NFL week to week. Who did the Rams lose to this year? Lost to the Panthers. They lost some bad games. And all of a sudden that the fact that a team beats the bad teams, that's what you want to do. So do I think it is an aspect? Yeah, it's a variable in all this, but it's also, I think the NFL is so much about particular matchups, like I brought up with the Patriots defense, that has to be focused on more as opposed to the overall schedule. I saw it getting used against Drake May and for the MVP conversation, and even people were using not opponent defense, they're just using the teams, which is he doesn't play defense to go against the opposing quarterback. Just because they played the Browns doesn't mean it was bad for him. He played against Myles Garrett in the Browns defense. So I do think it's kind of like most talking points, it's lost contained.
Yep,
is my best way to put it. So I rate it, but not as much as other stuff that I weigh a little bit more.
All right, Nate, let me ask you this question because I love the quarterback matchups in this Super Bowl with Drake May and Sam Darnold. And you have kind of two of the opposite spectrum here. Sam Darnold, it took a while for him to be Sam Darnold, the guy that we're watching this year, the last 2 years that won 14 games. And then Drake May comes in and he just kicked it off right away. What do you look at when you see quarterbacks like that? I know with Darnold, it seems like the coaching helped him as he moved through the chain, where Drake May just came in and seemed like he knew it right away.
Yeah, I was very bullish on May as a prospect. One of my, I think, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here if no one's listening, but he was my highest graded prospect since Andrew Luck. So I'm like, yeah, he looks great. This is exactly what I expected. If I were to say that he was going to be the MVP candidate, they're going to the Super Bowl this year, I would have said it all summer, as opposed to he might be a sneaky top 10 guy after this year. What I look for in prospects, though, first off, is I think people wave away size too much. And I'm not talking about height. I'm talking about weight and girth and strength. I think there is a parameter of success when guys weigh above 215 or 220. So really, that's one of the first things I look at. Like Caleb Williams, 6'1", but 225 pounds. I actually think he weighs 235 now. But guys that of size, and because when you have to win in the pocket and win as an NFL player and how many hits you take as a quarterback, you have to hold up build-wise. And I think that's one thing that people tend to underrate with prospects, especially quarterback prospects, is traits matter. Not people think of that DNs or receivers or something like that. Quarterbacks too. size, speed, athleticism do matter, as well as the mental makeup, of course. So when I'm looking at size, combat sports, there's weight classes for a reason. So I don't think why a combat sport like football is that should get waved away. So that's the first thing. Whether you can create, which is to me, can you push the ball down the field in structure? When things do go askew, can you create slightly out of structure or create outside the pocket? Can you throw on the move? Because every quarterback has to basically throw on the move these days, because whether they're a Shanahan offense or not, that's kind of how you have to win. So I look at aggression, athleticism, and size. And I kind of really, those are big check marks for me. And whether they can push the ball over the middle. Because to me, that's 3-point shooting for a quarterback, is that if you don't throw over the middle, you make the offense very tight, and now you turn it into iso ball on the outside. But if you push the ball over the middle, then everything else opens up. And some quarterbacks just have a knack for it. Some you have to eke it out of them. Some have never been asked to do it. But like, that's why I like May. That's why I like Darnold when he came out. Is that they had the cojones to kind of like, I'm going to rip this over the middle and throw it with timing and anticipation. So.
All right, Nate. Now you're a scout working now with Yahoo. We're here, Super Bowl Radio Row. We're the Cowboys of Philly and San Antonio.
Okay.
All those traits you're talking about, and I'm trying to think in my mind, Dak Prescott. When are we going to see the Cowboys? Don't laugh. In this game again? It's only been 30 years.
I think that offense might go supernova next year, especially if they get some running back with some real juice. I'm a huge Clayton Adams guy. I loved him when he was at Arizona. I had no idea who he was. I knew him as a player, and I was like, hey, Arizona's doing some cool stuff with their O-line. So I think what their O-line is, if Pickens comes back, I know that's going to be a whole talking point for the next month or so. Think he will. But I think this offense might go supernova. And if you look at the NFC, really look at the NFL right now, there's a lot of imperfect teams. It's not a lot of juggernauts being built right now. There's a lot of good. So why I'm saying that is that the defense doesn't have to be top 5 or top 8. They just have to be not crap. Yeah. And I think, and I really wish they got the Jim Leonard hire. That would have been very cool for this defense, but I like who they hired from Philly. And I think just be able to juice up some of their aspects of this defense and maybe get a running back. Like, this team is really set up. I'm pretty high on the Cowboys going into next year. I really am. Brian Schottenheimer really impressed me. I think he's a much better interview than I also realized he would be. Maybe it's a coach's kid thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll go Nepo babies, let's go. I think he's great, and I like the defense. I think the Eberflus thing is whatever. We're over this year, but we're that defense when Quentin Williams was out there and healthy. It was like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. You got Donovan Ezraku, and honestly, I don't know if Cowboys fans know this. It's a great linebacker draft.
Yes.
So, and I know the Cowboys have needed a linebacker since what? Leighton Vander Esch?
Yeah.
More or less.
More or
less.
Sean Lee.
Yeah. So I think that's it aligns kind of nicely for where they're at right now. So, am I saying Super Bowl? I'm not sure, but I do think they can easily make the playoffs next year. I know Vegas will have them because they'll sucker in all the Cowboys fans. Yeah. But no, I really do. I'm pretty high on them, especially if you look at the division. Commanders are reeling. Giants, who knows with Jackson Dart. I'm not very high on them. But then also the Eagles are reeling too. It's like it's a wide open division next year. So I actually like where the Cowboys are at.
Well, let me ask you this, Nate. When you're talking about rebuilding that defense, and a lot of there are some good defensive players coming out in this draft. Is it better to go rookie and try the young fellas, or would you try to mix in some veterans in that too, if you can?
Yes. Well, usually when you have a weakness, I love the double dip. I think maybe the epitome of that is maybe the Chiefs a few years ago. Their O-line cost them a Super Bowl. They drafted 2 guys. They signed another guy, or they traded for a guy and drafted 2 guys right away. But hey, this weakness is not a weakness anymore. Like, we are good, and we're going to give ourselves kind of ways to pivot if an injury happens or not. I think where they're set up, what's nice is that their offense has Ryan Flournoy. He has a lot of stuff to him. Like, he's kind of a guy that caught my eye. So why I'm bringing that up is the offense doesn't need too much. Like, running back. But there's some interesting vets out there. Tyler Algier would be really cool from Atlanta. But there's some aspects of why I'm saying that is they can focus on the defense. You don't want to mitigate, or wave away one side just to focus on the other. But I think there's some free agents that make sense. I'm trying to think of some right off the top of my head. But there's some make sense that maybe you just get a 1-year vet to help out, but also just draft it. And again, like I said earlier, there's corners, there's linebackers, and there's some edge players that actually line up well with the Cowboys. Keldrick Falk from Auburn is a guy I could see getting drafted by them with their first pick. The corner-wise, there's some guys that'll be available for them too with their second pick. So there's some stuff there that I really like for them.
That was Nate Tice earlier today on the Blitz. You can catch that full interview in our audio vault at sasportstar.com, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. If you want to catch the entirety of that interview, great stuff from Nate Tice earlier today. But as I said, Spurs, they had a wild weekend and they finished it off with a bang. And in doing so, Mitch Johnson got himself a honor that only Greg Popovich has gotten before, coaching the West All-Stars. We're going to discuss that next when we come back here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Tuesday on the Morning Huddle, more from Rob on Radio Row out in San Francisco as we get you ready for the Super Bowl, and a ton of hoops to talk as we get one day closer to that mega matchup between the Spurs and the Thunder. Don't be late. Party starts at 6 a.m.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Folks, there's nothing romantic about home repairs, but when your plumbing has lost that love and feeling and your AC is about to achy break your heart, call Quarterman Plumbing, Heat, and AC at 210-651-5899. We'll fix the issue fast at a great price with a servant spirit.
Joel, this is a special Valentine gift from me to you.
Yeah, but why are your arms red?
I got a deal on this plant for your office.
That's poison ivy, Nigel.
It's what?
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number TACLA 141074E and 16004.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Of course, if you missed anything from our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage for the big game out there in San Francisco, whether with AJ and Rob, Jason and Joe, you can always catch it all on our YouTube page. We have a playlist dedicated to all the interviews that are going on out there in San Francisco, or you could just check the audio vault at sasportstar.com. But, of course, AA Best Bail Bonds big game coverage brought to you by Smoky Moe's Barbecue and excuse me, got a hiccup. Smoky Moe's Barbecue and Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Now, earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, Spurs had a wild weekend, and they were breaking it down as the Spurs weekend went crazy. And it's even crazier because if you look at the Charlotte Hornets, they just won their 7th straight today, the Spurs being part of that. But they had a wild weekend trying to get in and out of Charlotte before finally touching down back here to take on the Magic and handle business. And in doing so, handing Coach Mitch Johnson the reins to the All-Star team.
The San Antonio Spurs got the win last night, much later than expected, but got the win last night over the Magic, 112-103. I'm guessing you didn't get to see a whole lot of that game.
Actually, I got to see a fair amount. It was the Magic box made its way here. So yeah, I got to see a fair amount. It was a thorough dispatching. I mean, you wouldn't have known that the Spurs had the day that they'd had. They beat them.
Yeah, they did. It was funny because they started out on fire, and then the second quarter was about as bad as it could have been. And like I said, how are the Magic? Like at halftime, the Magic were leading the game, and it was like after the first quarter, the Spurs won 37-21. They were up 16 points in the first quarter and down at halftime, and I was like, oh boy. But the second half, different story. Spurs took care of business, and a solid, if not spectacular, win over Orlando. Orlando's not as good as we kind of thought they were going to be coming into the season. I think you and I both thought Orlando was kind of poised to break out. They haven't been very healthy.
There's not enough Wagners.
Yeah,
they need more Wagners.
The good Wagner hasn't been around much. The backcourt for Orlando was essentially useless yesterday. Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black went like 4 for $1 million.
That's where the physicality that those big old young boys can bring out when we're talking about Dylan Harper and Castle. They just can bully lesser or thinner guards, and that was evident yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny because, and you know what, I'll play some more Spurs sound a little bit later on in the show. But one of the things that Mitch mentioned again Wimby mentioned again yesterday was he was talking about the physicality teams are continuing to throw at him. Here's Wimby talking about that.
No, I mean, I don't think I was frustrated. I know they do that because they don't want to play the game. They don't want to play a basketball game. But I mean, our job on offense is to make it a basketball game. So that's how we're gonna beat them. But it's just the game. It's like this every night.
So, like, you talk about the physicality of the backcourt, which I like. Wimby has got to, dude. He's got to change his mindset. Like, this is worrisome when he's talking about they're only doing this because they don't want to play basketball, bro. This is basketball. This is just,
young man.
This is American basketball, friend.
You think you got it rough? They wrote a book about what they did to Jordan. It was called The Jordan Rules. An entire manual was written about 20 years ago about what you do to superstars. Welcome to the party, young man. You're going to have to fight through this crap. This is what This is what superstars are made of, a little bit of this. So it's coming every night. And you know why it's going to continue to come? Because it's supposed to continue to come. And all those refs are going to let it continue to come until you stand up and be a man and come back at them.
Well, also, I mean, if I heard someone complaining every time a team got physical with them,
yes,
what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to get physical with them. Now,
it's working.
I will say, I mean, part of what really worked out last night for the Spurs was Wemby lived at the free throw line, and that made. I mean, the Spurs had 32 free throw attempts. The Magic had 15. So the physicality, he got really a friendly whistle. Wemby had more free throw, or had the same amount of free throw attempts as the entire Magic team. So the physicality, at least they rewarded him at the free throw. That's not always going to be the case. So for him to complain after that game, I was a little surprised.
Well, I do think there's a little bit of he's young, and it's hard to believe that when you've been the golden child at someplace else for your entire life, somebody touched you, it was foul. I mean, how there's the only way. So now, and it's happening directly in front of referees that are standing there with the whistle and just watching it happen. And it happens over and over and over again. You're just going to have to understand you got to fight through it. And that's just part of that. And I hate them, but that's just kind of unwritten rules of stardom. And one of them is we have to witness you overcoming adversity. And the more you call attention to it, the more adverse it's going to get. So the good news is you're getting a little taste of what it's going to be twice as much when we get to the playoffs. You think it's bad now?
Oh, in the playoffs, they're going to beat the hell out of him. And
yes.
The other thing is he's like, we talked a lot about this at the beginning of the season, how Wemby had put on weight. I think it's gone. It's gone. Like he is starting to look like. He looks like he looked a year ago. Like he looks thin and I don't want to say frail, but kind of frail.
He's still growing, man.
I know, but
he can't keep weight on. He's still getting taller.
And maybe the long season wearing on him, but they got to feed that kid more. Like they should. You know how like these offensive linemen, the teams have meal plans for them. Like you've got to eat X amount of calories. Like they need to start forcing more food on this kid.
Honestly, I would assume that he's probably on something like that. I do believe he's still stretching. Those calories ain't going to muscle; they're going to bone. You know what I mean? I think we still haven't seen how tall this kid's going to get. So until he gets there, it's going to be hard for him to put on weight. I think this is one of those. It's going to take a while, man. I think we're 2 or 3 years from seeing any kind of. And that's only when he's 24.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a few, and with every passing year, he'll get a little bit bigger, and he'll start playing closer and closer to the basket. Because, quite frankly, it's hard for us to inflict on him, like, hey, man, go get in the paint. Well, he weighs $150 or whatever it is. I can't. I can't physically get there because I'm not strong enough. And now you weigh that into just the exhaustion of a long season. So don't expect a bunch of paint stuff. And I think that goes full circle with what his problem is, because he can't get in the paint because the defenders just aren't going to let him physically get there. And then he has to back out, and everybody gets mad at him because he's taking a bunch of threes. Well, that's really the only thing that he can get to, unless there's some kind of organized play to get him someplace else.
And the Spurs get the job done without Steph Castle. Though Devin Vassell looks like he's fully back and good to go. He looked really good last night, as did Dylan Harper, actually. Dylan Harper off the bench gave some strong minutes. We still haven't seen this entire Spurs team healthy at the same time, which maybe we never will. But last night was a good, solid win for that team.
We got a big one coming up.
I was going to say, yeah. So that's the good news is, it came off another poor effort at Charlotte, another game they shouldn't have lost. It's like you're beating the Rockets, you're beating the Timberwolves, you're beating the Thunder, and then you're losing to the Hornets and the Pelicans. I still don't know what this team is. But yeah, we've got now 2 days. Wednesday, it'll be the Thunder coming into town and taking on the Spurs here at the Frost. I may try to get over to that.
Dude, you better. That's going to be a. You can tell they keyed it up getting ready for this OKC thing. And I hear telling, I think there's going to be more news to break this afternoon during the day about the flight the Spurs had yesterday. I don't want to say what it was because I can't confirm anything from here, but it sounded like the flight issues were more than just a minor thing to make them land in Atlanta. So given the circumstances, going 1-1 on this little road from a blizzard to that to a twice delayed game, I'll take it. Yeah, I hate this part of getting better is the expectation of you need to just beat Charlotte. I don't care what's going on. That they have no right being competing with you the way that they did.
They're playing a lot better. As I said, they've won 7 straight now after today. That's maybe Charlotte's just not getting the respect that they deserve right now for as well as they're playing, because the Spurs aren't the only good team they've beat either. But as far as it goes to Wemby, I don't think normal people understand what athletes really go through as linemen, whatever. Whenever you see a lineman that was in the NFL, then when you see him after he gets out of the NFL and he's lost like 150 pounds overnight and he just looks like a completely different person, or even people like myself with a high metabolism that have trouble keeping food on, I don't think normal people understand the struggle of what it takes to put weight on correctly, by the way, to where you're not doing damage to your body and joints and ligaments and stuff like that, especially with the amount of cardio that they do every single night to be able to add that weight properly and not it be a detriment to the player's body. And it's not as simple as, just tell them to eat a whole bunch of pizza every day. It's not that simple. I wish it was. It's not. And there's a plan and a safe way to gain the weight and to add it. But the problem is, as much as he adds it, as much as he plays, as much as he runs up and down the floor every single night, he's also burning it at an extremely rapid rate as well. On top of just having the metabolism of a 21-year-old. It's not easy. And everybody that thinks that he should just go get in the paint, no, he shouldn't. Does he need to attack it sometimes? Absolutely. Does he need to live down there? Absolutely not, because that's probably detrimental to his health as we move forward. You know, protect him. Eagle fan says the Spurs could use a Rodman or a Lambeer type. Sure. Somebody to dish out the punishment every time Victor gets punished. Yes, that's absolutely true. And maybe that's something they can add at the trade deadline. We heard Windhorst report today that the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting in on the Giannis sweepstakes and very aggressively, I might add, looking for 3rd and 4th teams to help possibly facilitate said trade. Spurs should get in on something like that. If you get a Naz Reid or a Jaden McDaniels or even a Bobby Portis, maybe 2 of those 3 in return to help facilitate said trade. Bobby Portis, a 3-and-D guy, bring in a Naz Reid or even a Jaden McDaniels to help kind of space the floor. Whew. That would be awesome. Trade deadline's just a few days away. Thursday, this coming Thursday. Keep your ears tuned because it's going to get crazy the closer it gets. And we're going to see more reports of people being like, oh, Giannis is really available. Maybe I should kick the tires a little bit harder than my initial reach now that people are starting to come out and offer more substantial packages for said superstar. 210-656-ESPN 656 if you want to be a part of the conversation. But our Radio Row coverage continued all day long, and Sumner Sports' Lindsey Rhodes was with the Blitz a little bit earlier this afternoon. We're going to bring you a portion of that interview as we return here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's 94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Big Game Giveaway. Predict the exact score of the big game in Santa Clara, California, and you could score $50,000. Make your predictions now at SASportsStar.com. The $50K Big Game Giveaway, brought to you by Dietz Tractor. Score big with Dietz Tractor in Seguin and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got US-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Hormones can affect everything. Bad skin, bad hair, low energy, poor sleep, brain fogginess, libido, and weight gain. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we take a functional approach to your hormone problems. Eating right and exercise will not be beneficial without optimal hormone function. This goes for men and women. We do state-of-the-art testing to get to the root of your hormone issues and help you get well and stay well. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. We can help. 210-468-1891.
Oh, yes, playoff football is here, baby, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all that action. Playing on Underdog is so easy. You pick your favorite players. Are they going to go higher or lower on their stats? Sounds simple, right? Touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, passing yards, you name it. Is your favorite guy going to have more or less of those stats? And if you get it right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. How incredible is that? You know, everybody's playing at their peak right now during playoff season. Who do we trust? How about the guys who have been in the playoffs before? That's who I'm looking at consistently, guys with that experience to go higher on their stats. Download the app today. Use my promo code Alamo. You'll get $75 in bonus entries with your first $5. That's promo code Alamo. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Spring Golf Classic is back. Round up your foursome, your work crew, your weekend golf buddies, even the ladies, and get ready for a fun, laid-back day at the Golf Club of Texas. Monday, March 30th. Lock in a team for just $500 for a foursome, or jump in solo for $150 per player and spend the day talking trash, crushing drives, and laughing your way around the course. This isn't a stuffy golf club tournament. It's golf the way it should be. The Spring Golf Classic benefits feeding animals at no-kill shelters across Texas, so you're having a great time for a great cause. Presented by Flight by Yingling and sponsored by Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, and Ancira.com. And when the last putt drops, the day is just getting started. Join us for the after party at the 90 Proof Bar at Lucky Ranch Road and Highway 90. Cold drinks, great food, and all the post-round storytelling you can handle. So pick your team, claim your spot, and tee up with San Antonio's Sports Star. Sign up your foursome now at SASportsStar.com.
This is AJ Hoffman from the Morning Huddle. Join me and Rob Thompson tomorrow morning at 6 for the perfect ride to work on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Taking a look at some of the YouTube comments. You can comment along with the show there at YouTube, SA Sports Star. When we go live, you can always jump into any of our conversations, whether it's here on Extra Innings with Pledge, the Morning Huddle, or the Blitz. Doc says the thing in with getting bullied, regular season basketball stuff, it's not dirty stuff. It's just to slap the floor and get in his jersey. Sure. It is. And he's been handling it well, I think. I don't have any problem with the way Wemby has handled people getting physical with him. He's gone right back at them. I don't need him to live in the paint being physical with people, though. He's not built for that right now. Can he do it? Sure. Over the course of the game? Absolutely. He also needs to make sure to protect himself and his body, because we want Wemby to play more games than not. And him going and banging down in the paint and acting like a true center like he's Shaq is one surefire way to get him injured throughout the course of the year, because his body isn't built like Shaq's was. It's not built currently like Giannis's was, but Giannis's wasn't built like that either. It took him 4 or 5 years to build that body in the NBA. Wemby is in year 3, year 2, if you count the blood clot, really, to where he probably couldn't do much. So I understand everybody wants to skip steps and rush to the finish line of things. Some things have to be done right and properly in order for them to take and have success. That's just the way of the world. We are an instant gratification society because of technology and Instagram and give me everything I need to hear in 5 seconds. That's not how you should consume news, information, anything. Take your time, read it thoroughly, find out what the pitfalls are. And for Wemby, putting on weight too fast could be a pitfall. Put it on right, properly, slowly. Build that muscle. Then, when it's time, he can take over and do anything he wants to do. It is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. The guys, both the Morning Huddle and the Blitz, they're out on Radio Row in San Francisco. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage presented by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Earlier today, the Blitz was talking with former NFL Network analyst Lindsey Rhodes, who is now working for Sumer Sports and huge into the analytics, and a great conversation with Lindsey Rhodes earlier today. I'm going to bring you a portion of that right now here on Extra Innings with Pledger.
Our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage live from San Francisco is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds.
Bonds big game coverage. I'm Joe Reinagle. Jason Minix is in the Bay Area, and Jason, you got a special guest I can see there.
I certainly do. Lindsey Rhodes from Sumer Sports joining us here on the Blitz. And it's so funny, Joe, because we teased the George Pickens deal, and she's right on her laptop looking at the Cowboys have no damn money.
That's literally, I was like, wait, you have no money.
They'll free up money. They'll create the cap space, right? So what is a George Pickens contract ultimately, do you think, is that going to look like?
Okay. I'm looking at the contracts that are out there right now. I'm thinking you are probably going – are you going up from DK? I think you'd probably start at DK. It has to be upwards of DK.
Yeah.
Why did I just start talking? Look at this.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Because you're out in Texas and you decided to go, I'm an LA girl. Let me sound like I'm from Texas, like Jerry Jones. You're channeling your inner Jerry Jones.
What? I would say that's what I'm going to guess. So he's at 33 a year, right? Just under 33 a year. Over him, you only have Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. Oh God, are you going to do that? But like, I think you can strongly make an argument that it should be over DK, right?
Or do you just use the tag this year?
I mean, or if you can get away with the tag, yes. However, are you convinced that what we saw from George Pickens this year is that who he is now?
No.
Are you? You're not? Okay, because that's literally that is the answer to the question, and that's how you decide whether or not a tag is prove it again.
Yep.
You know, in which case, if there's concern about that, then absolutely go ahead and tag. If you think that he is as good as we saw this year, and that's what you're signing, then I think you have to find a way to get a longer term deal done, or else the price just goes up.
You know, Lindsay, that's interesting that you say that. And I say no, just simply because I've seen a lot of NFL players in a contract year be great citizens and not cause any problems. And then once they get the big contract, it's back. And look, I get it. Wide receivers are divas by nature. But when Mike Tomlin can't handle you, that to me is a red flag. And we saw some of that with the Cowboys a little bit toward the end of the season with George Pickens. I would think I would want another year of prove it to me.
Yeah, I think I cannot speak to any of the stuff that you're referring to in terms of diva or whatever. But but I'm just saying, legitimately, I don't know. I haven't seen that. That hasn't been. But I do know that prior to this year, there was just inconsistency in play, right? Like that was one of the actual football conversations to be had, was that he flashed and people loved the flash, but when he wasn't flashing, what was happening on those plays? And so it seemed like there was less of that this year that was concerning. And so maybe he has taken a step forward in terms of, becoming a more full wide receiver, right? Like in terms of like route tree and consistency and if that's true, then I think you probably are going to have to pay that.
Well, Lindsay Rhodes from Simmer Sports here on the Blitz. You think about his time in Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin let him go, and he had his explosions on the sideline. He gets to Dallas, and it's the best quarterback that he's ever played with, and he's got a CeeDee Lamb on the other side. I know when you guys are starting to look at data and who's taking plays off and are they max effort if the ball's not coming to them, that's all the evaluation stuff that you guys have access to. I'm assuming the Cowboys have similar data, if not your data.
Right.
How much does that factor into wanting to get him a contract? Even if Dak Prescott said earlier today, even if he has to get involved with Jerry in the contract to get him Pickens back, I don't know how much that factors, but the data is probably going to speak more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, we have Sumer scores that we create. We have something called Sumer Sight. So it's like a model that we have trained to essentially watch film. Like, so you put, the play on the screen and it evaluates every movement of every player for every frame of every play of of the whole season. So what it does, and actually Sean Syed, my colleague, put out a really cool video earlier today demonstrating what Sumer Sight does. So if you're at all curious about how this gets done, I think it's a perfect visual example of how we're compiling a lot of our data. But what it is trained to do, or the job, is to evaluate all of the play that is not necessarily leading to production, but how much are you impacting plays on a regular basis? So even if the ball doesn't come to you, are you still creating separation where you were a viable target? Are you winning your matchups more frequently than losing your matchups if you're a wide receiver? Or are you blocking well, right? Like that's something that a lot of times people don't see. Are you a liability on the field when the ball doesn't come your way? And so all of these things are being evaluated. We're coming up with season-long scores and game scores that sometimes don't match what people think that they saw. I think that there is a little bit of bias that takes place with the big plays. You remember the big plays, and so you think that is, and I think that to a degree that has been the story of George Pickens in the past. And so people haven't understood necessarily some of the concerns about what's happening when the big plays aren't happening. This year, all of that said, we have him as having a very good score. We have him as an 8, which is like a Pro Bowl level. Like a 10 would be like historically good. These are one of the best players in the year, should be in player of the year type of conversations. A 9 is also like an all pro, and then an 8 is the next level underneath that. 7 is an above average starter. And so it's a 1 through 10 scale that goes like that. And we have him as an 8, the same. We have Dak as an 8 too. We have Javonte Williams as an 8. We have Tyler Smith as an 8, and we have Quinnen as a 9. So it's interesting to me that there's so many offensive players, right? And then Quinnen.
Well, that's why the Cowboys didn't make the playoffs this year.
Yes,
but this is a long way of saying we have him as having the majority of his games don't dip into like subpar ranges, and so that's a pretty good sign, just based on what I know the model does and what it's looking for, that he actually did play consistently well, and just in those ways where he has popped in the past.
We know
that was Lindsay Rhodes of Sumer Sports earlier today on the Blitz. You can catch that full interview in our audio vault, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds at sasportstar.com, or you can watch the interview in our YouTube channel. We got the 2026 big game coverage live from Radio Row in San Francisco, where we're posting our videos of interviews from Radio Row. So go check that out. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage presented by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. When we come back, we're going to help to put a bow on the show and get you ready for tomorrow as the morning huddle. Well, they're going to get things kicked off with a former safety and CBS NFL analyst. That is coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the big game in Silicon Valley, and the only local station bringing you exclusive wall-to-wall coverage from the Bay Area. All brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. We're live from Radio Row with insider interviews, breaking stories, and all the pregame excitement leading up to the superb hour. From the biggest names in sports to behind-the-scenes access, we've got it all. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage is brought to you in part by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. Your front row seat to the backstage action, live from the Bay Area, is 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats, it's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice dream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice dream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizzalicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1073. 800-499-1073. 800-499-1073.
Presented by Robinhood.
It crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
It's impossible to have a bad day when you started with Chick-fil-A. Hi, I'm Miles. And this is Grant. And the little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is how the fluffy, crispy goodness wakes us up in the morning. The chicken is crispy, the biscuit is soft, it's iconic. Throw some jelly on it, you can throw some honey on it. It helps me kick off the day. The hash browns are great. And I really like the shape of them too. Little circles of crispy goodness. Yeah, those early morning chicken biscuits are just great, man.
Mornings are a little bit brighter with the Chick-fil-A Chicken Biscuit and Simply Orange Juice. Available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pleasure. Thank you for joining me as we wrap up today's show. Eagle fan says maybe Lamb should get in on the restructuring. Well, they're $31+ million over the salary cap right now. So I imagine it's going to be more than just Dak Prescott restructuring his deal when it comes to restructures this offseason to A, get under the cap, and B, if they're going to truly extend Pickens or re-sign Javonte Williams and do other things in free agency, it is going to take multiple restructures of multiple players on this team to get this team into a place where they can afford to do all the things that we want them to do. RA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage presented by Smoky Mo's Barbecue and Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds rolls on tomorrow. Don't forget, join Rob and AJ early tomorrow morning, 6 to 10. They're going to have Solomon Wilcots, former NFL safety, CBS NFL analyst. He is going to be on the show tomorrow, and I think Wednesday they're going to have Akbar. I know it's KGB. I know it's AGB. Former NFL player Akbar GB Amila. That's it. He now hosts the American Ninja Warrior and is a NFL former player, as well as Ross Tucker, who has the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, also a part of the Westwood One broadcast. He'll be on later this week. Tomorrow on the Blitz, big day. Sean Merriman, Brian Jones of CBS, Jason Fitz of Yahoo Sports, John Riggins, Bonnie Jill Laughlin, former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, all going to be on the Blitz tomorrow afternoon. So don't forget, lock in early at 6 and then stay through the afternoon with the Blitz from 2 to 6. And I'll be here to wrap it up all tomorrow right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Call your loved ones, check on them. You never know what people are going through in life, and a simple, hey, how you doing, could change everything. We will see y'all tomorrow right back here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine.